I attempted the hardest task in any of the Super Mario Bros. Games, New Super Mario Bros. U, but with only one life, also known as permadeath. What does permadeath mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. The term permadeath means that if you die in any way or form in-game, you actually die, just like in real life, and are forced to restart from the very beginning. Now you're probably asking, how hard is it to complete a platformer game made for children in one go? Well, you'd be surprised to know the truth. To clarify a thing or two, I'm playing the deluxe version on Nintendo Switch, as I never owned the original Wii U version. And yes, I'll be playing as Yellow Toad. He's quite the most underutilized character in the game. To save everyone's time, I'll play a short montage of this whole thing's many fails and deaths as I spend nearly 8 hours attempting to complete this. But before we get into that, I just want to give a personal shout out to Scoutical for bringing this idea in the first place. They attempted to beat the game with only 3 lives, leaving me to take it a step further. And of course, Racefire, who's supposedly the original inventor of this whole thing. With that out of the way, enjoy this beautiful montage. What? No! What was that? What? Oh, no! Are you kidding me? What did I say? What did I just say? No! No! How? No! I hate flying Cheep Cheeps. What was that? What was that? The multi-mode bounce? What? Wait. No. 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 Why? Why? Is that a thing? So, there you have it. Now you can get an understanding of how it feels like to do this in the first place. And now, I'll show you the real winning attempt. So I get comfortable, start a new save file, start the timer, and let's do this. The first thing I did in 1-1 was to immediately get the acorn power up from the start, as the later stages will benefit from it, and then it was just smooth sailing afterward. 1-2 is the first stage with many hazards in its way, from enemies, bottomless pits, and even surprise attacks, or animations in this case. All it takes to beat this challenge is to know where everything is and where you need to go. The very first tower stage can be easily skipped if you hold onto the acorn suit, as you can glide jump your way to the top. See, I told you it would come in handy. One teensy little boom boom fight later, and I go ahead and grab this acorn power up to save it for later. The rest of Area 1 was careful maneuvering of dodging surprise attacks and avoiding falling into pits. And lava, I can't forget about that. As we get into Area 2, it also consists of the same thing, as we're now trying to dodge pokies and supers. One tower level and a slightly harder fight later, and we get into this maze-like area where we're trying to get the acorn while dodging the enemies. Of course, I bump into the Goomba and are forced to defeat a small group of them. The last 3 stages have me carefully glide through the clouds/enemies, defeat and ride some Lakitu clouds, and avoid getting squished by whatever these stone blocks are supposed to be. Oh, and also, consider this Born 2.0 Jr., my low love. For the split path section, I went through the Area 4 route, as I found Area 3 to be harder from the latter, as you seen in the montage minutes ago. I don't know about you, but I found underwater stages to not be as bad as people would think. With some careful swimming here and there, you'd be practically breezing through these levels. Going past another tower level, then is where we get to the worst type of levels in my opinion. There's just something about Ghost House levels that tend to act like a maze, but the type of mazes that can lead to a loop. The trick to beating these types of levels is to know where you need to go, because if you don't, then that could lead to something worse than getting hit. After that, it was all about dodging flying fish, giant dragon-like eel, and underwater bullet bills. It will then be that we reach the halfway point and get snatched away by a giant airship. Being the first auto-scroller of the run, it's all about patience and careful maneuvering when dodging any cannonballs and the annoying underwater red bowling bills. Apparently they're called Targeting Ted? Who came up with these names? After our first encounter with Bowser Jr., we finally proceeded to Area 5. The first two stages were all about dodging big enemies in 5-1 and brand balls in 5-3. When we get to the tower level, I immediately hold to the left to use a secretively hidden dev exit, as this skips half of the entire level. One massive boy later, and we enter yet another ghost house, but afterward, my favorite level in the entire game. I'll be completely honest, I wish Nintendo used this background art style a bit more in the near future. 5-6 takes a different turn by adding in rotating bridges / platforms, and if not careful enough, you may end up falling to your death. 5-Castle has always been scary to me, as you have to maneuver through consistent sine waves of lava. If careful enough, the entire thing is an easy walk in the park. Now onto Area 6, you'll start to see more bottomless pits, especially so when we start getting closer to the clouds. 6-2 is just your traditional half underwater, half land level, with of course the introduction of Porcupuffer. We love it, we hate it, or we just obliterate it on sight.
Hello darkness, my old friend.
After a tougher tower level and one final encounter with the Mad Lad himself, Chain Chomps finally make an appearance, and a very long elevator ride down to victory. We make our way to another tower level, and oh brother, I do not like this one. This is the level where sumo wrestlers make an appearance and will not only stun you into place with their stumps, but also attempt to electrocute you in the process. And things don't get better with the mini-boss, as the now massive sumo wrestler has very little predictability for us, leading to some very close moments when the run could have died. After enduring an intense fight, we get into another underground stage with moving platforms. For this one, you have to time your moves, as you can either get squished or fall into the bottomless pit below. 6-Castle adds in these metal blocks that can act as platforms. Apart from that one unfortunate incident where I got squished, timing is key to passing through this section. Oh, and let's not forget to mention that this is the first out of the two Koopaling boss fights that occur in the outdoors. Nice. We finally reached Area 7, and just like with the previous area, it only gets harder from here. 7-1 in particular has you riding this cloud, sort of acting like an auto-scroller, the first half being easy, with the other half being harder. I blindly go into 7-3 where platforms move when you're standing in them. Oh, and bullet bills become a major obstacle with this one. Yikes. 7-Tower and onwards contains the worst enemies for this entire video, Fire Bros. As you're scaling upwards with moving platforms, Fire Bros will occasionally show up and attempt to burn you in sight, making them a pretty tough foe to go against. If you thought NSNBW's 9-7 was tough, I'm sure it still is, then try doing a permadeath run with Fire Bros in your path. One comic encounter later, and we enter our final ghost house. Unlike the two other ghost houses, this one has no bottomless pits, and instead, our only concern is getting hit by question mark blocks or boos. If you stay on the correct path, that is. We avoid hitting the fuzzies and follow the upper path to 7-3, in which you bounce on top of sentient clouds. And I got this unfortunate hit by this boomerang bro when going for a star coin, so that's a whoopsie. Another snake block level, another auto-scroller. How exciting. 7-Castle was alright and well, until this happened. I hate you. At least the Ludwig von Koopa fight was alright afterward. And right before we can enter the castle area, we have one final encounter with the airship. For the second airship level, the first half consists of dodging the massive Mecha Bowser hand from obliterating you on sight, with the other half timing your movement with a motion-based platform. Once I reached the checkpoint, I broke the nearby crate, not knowing it contained a fire flower, which made Bowser Jr.'s boss fight a bit extra harder. Speaking of, the arena has these metal platforms that can be destroyed by the little mischievous guy himself with some punches, with bob-ombs on top of that, as it couldn't be any harder. Doing some well-timed attacks will result in the fight ending fairly quickly. Also, can we just slow down for a second and realize the metal blocks and Bowser's head in the airship change expressions when being damaged? It's little details like those that we don't even notice. At last, we enter Peach's castle. 8-1 starts with this platform that can dip in and out of the lava, which can result in death if not careful. Now normally I didn't use any secret exits throughout the entire run, but I so happened to enter the secret exit in the level, skipping 2 levels in the process. But because this isn't an entire area skip, like most of them throughout the game, I won't penalize the run for this. 8-4 is a proper auto-scroller, with big fireballs coming from the top. As long as you follow the path and time your movement, this level becomes like a walk in the park. Also, the goal pole area has this destructible gray blocks that we directly stand on top of. I can't help but think it's there for decorative purposes or to get on your nerves that it's going to break. As we step inside the castle, we're immediately met with rising lava, and right on this motion-based platform that can't hold more than one passenger/object, resulting in some intense moments that act fast, all while also avoid getting electrocuted. This is it, the final battle. For the final stage in Peach's castle, Bowser Jr. will constantly drop down and attempt to destroy and shake any bone platform, resulting in very intense moments, as it can result in a game over when not being careful. After successfully making it through that section, it's all sunshine and rainbows from here, as the Bowser fight is relatively easier from here on out. Activate that axe and the true battle begins. For the final act of the game, it's all about timing and patience, as I have to hijack Junior's Koopa clown car and hit Bowser's head with it. In one of the rounds, I went slightly more above his head, to the point where he started claw slashing and I missed. Whoops. As for the ending, I'll just let it play out. I'm a total. End this man's whole career. GG's. That's it. That's it. That's new Super Mario Bros. U permadeath. We did it, Princess Peach. I saved the world without dying a single time. So even Nabbit is in shock that we did it. So there you have it. In just under 2 hours, I beat the entire game the way it was intended without dying a single time. To think it will be this hard to complete a challenge for this game that I portrayed as easy, then imagine how hard it would be for every other video game out there. If you want to see the full uncut version, it will be available over on my second channel. The link to it will be in the description. But regardless, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, consider liking this video, it would be appreciated. And if you're interested in my content, feel free to subscribe. It's free and you can always change your mind later. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Being the first auto-scroller of the run, it's all about patience and careful maneuvering when dodging any... Are you kidding me? Dude, my sensor bar fell down. My Wii sensor bar, come on.